Part 3 of How to Get Sober and how AA and these 12-step programs oppose anybody's ability to do so. Part 3 is taking control of your brain. One of the best possible things I could have done when getting sober was to pick up a book and start reading. I started to read a ton of self-help books, and something that I saw consistently coming up and the most relatable to drug abuse is the ability to control your brain. When it comes to addiction, you either control your brain or it will control you. It's as simple as that. Dr. Lance Dotis describes this as beating addiction by understanding addiction. The one book I will forever say has changed my life is called You Are Not Your Brain. This book helped me to understand the concept of neurons that fire together, wire together. It helped me to understand how habits are formed, how to break the connection of bad habits and rewire them to positive and productive habits. When in active addiction, your brain has started to form connections out of your drug abuse. You wake up, you use. Something stresses you out, you use. Get home from work, you use. You feel depressed, you use. The key here is to break these toxic connections and habits and replace them with positive and more productive habits that are in line with your purpose and goals. You start off with replacing these habits with smaller, more tedious habits. Wake up, make your bed. Feel depressed, go out in public and socialize. Something stresses you out, go to the gym. Get home from work, take a 15-minute walk. These are all things that these multi-million-dollar rehabs teach people. It doesn't take thousands of dollars and families going into bankruptcy to save their loved ones to teach people this. You Are Not Your Brain breaks this down into 4 easy steps. 1 is relabel. Relabel these toxic brain messages. Call them what they are. You have the urge to use? Well, that's all it is, an urge. You have physically done nothing. 2 is reframe. Reframe from using all or nothing thinking. Reframe from emotional reasoning like, oh man, I had a really stressful day at work today. I deserve a couple extra drinks, or I deserve a couple extra pills. 3 is refocus. Focus your attention in the moment to the direction you want to go. You have a sudden urge to use? Well, you also have a list of goals you want to accomplish. What could you be doing in that moment to accomplish those goals? And 4 is revalue. After following the first 3 steps, you can then revalue your cravings more rationally. Man, I made it through that urge without using. Are these cravings really as bad as I'm making them out to be? Steps like this help beat addiction by understanding addiction. Programs like Smart Recovery and Rational Recovery follow this, and cognitive behavioral therapy, and dig at the more underlying issues of drug abuse. AA and these 12-step groups offer no such intellectual reasoning. Their mentality of, oh, you don't know what kept you sober another day? Well then, God did it, or see the power of AA worked. If religion is your thing, that's fine. But don't let these 12-step groups use your religion as a means to explain something that they can't. Another thing that these 12-step groups do that SMART doesn't is they focus on nothing but drugs and alcohol. They teach people to revolve their entire lives around drugs and alcohol. Drug-related speakers every single night where they talk about drugs for an hour. How drugs and alcohol destroyed their life, how drugs affect them today, how much their drugs cost, where they got their drugs from, where they used to use at, how drugs made them feel, and then the room would share their experience with drugs. When you're in these AA and NA meetings and doing nothing other than talking and thinking about drugs and alcohol, your brain is only focusing on the idea of using. You are keeping the neurons that fire together wired together. This has led to disastrous problems like the incredibly high relapse rate, people having drug drains for weeks and months, actually after getting sober, and living a life of constant temptation. Another incredibly disastrous mindset that these AA groups push is that with just one slip, you need to go all out relapse. You need to go right back to where you started. You need to go find your new low or find your new rock bottom. Not only that, but now we're going to put you on a pedestal, and in front of everyone, you're going to have to go get your one-day chip again. And we're going to use you as an example. No. You have the ability to choose if you're going to let that one slip lead you back down the road you came in on, or if you're going to stop right there. You choose to end it or keep going. You don't need to be publicly humiliated for that. It's this mentality and practice that has caused people to go out and use for their last time, or remember to slip at a restaurant and then just think, well, I might as well go all out now, and go kill themselves or a family in an accident, all because they just think, well, that's what we're supposed to do, or want to avoid being humiliated. The same mentality stems from their idea that, oh, once an addict, always an addict, that for every time you speak at one of these meetings, you must start with, hi, I'm Joe and I'm an addict, or hi, I'm Mary and I'm an alcoholic, teaching people to take pride in their negative labels. This is utter bullshit. You're not an addict for life. You need to be building yourself up, but at the same time preparing yourself for what is to come, and preparing yourself mentally. AA and NA like to paint this picture that once sober, life becomes perfect, nothing but sunshine and rainbows, and to think otherwise makes you a mean, miserable, dry drunk. Well, guess what? Life's not always sunshine and rainbows, and to teach people this is setting them up for failure. Life sucks sometimes. You are still going to go through stressful situations. You are still going to have responsibilities. Being sober makes these situations 1,000 times easier, but you're still going to face situations that you find disappointing. Understanding that fact and mentally preparing yourself for those events will help you get through them. I went through 2 of the most stressful situations of my life while in my first few years sober, but I got through them easily by having control of my brain, by refocusing what are only negative thoughts into more productive ideas that are all in line with my goals and purpose. As I said before, you either control your brain or it will control you. And I'll see you guys next week.